Hello, Flosstube. It's Arlene here. From Arlene Wild Stitching in the Fence and Arlene Wild Art, and of course now Arlene Wild with her Amigurumi crochet as well. Anyway, it's been a little bit of a while again. Sorry about that. I know I promised, but as my mum would say, a promise is just a comfort. Anyway, better late than never. I'm here. It's been really busy in the studio. It's Sunday afternoon. I'm filming. It's 27th of July. It's my son's birthday. Happy birthday, Theo. Yeah, my big boy, he's 37. I can't believe it. I didn't have him in school. Anyway, yesterday was a fabulous day with him. We went to Sheffield. I went to Sheffield for the first time, because those of you who follow my channel, you know how I'm enjoying exploring the Midlands and living north. I'm loving it. I'm really loving it. It just, for me, it's like I've come home. It just reminds me of a lot of elements from my childhood. I did enjoy living in the south, where I lived for a long time, over 20 years, probably 30 years. But I'm really enjoying my forever home here, higher up country. It's just my vibe. Anyway, before I go any further, to my returning subscribers, as usual, welcome. Thanks for hanging around. I'm not going anywhere. I will keep coming back. I will. And thank you for your patience. Thank you for all your kind words. I'm really sorry if I haven't been that hot on replying, but you know I love you. You know I'm grateful for all your comments. It's been very, very busy, and I've got a packed episode for you. Now, for any new teeth back in, okay? For any new subscribers who have just found me, who I've been recommended to, thank you so much for joining me. I'm glad you found me, and I hope you like what you see. A very, very warm welcome to the channel, and I'm hoping that you will have a lot of pleasure out of it. I've really missed coming and sharing. I have been videoing all sorts of stuff as I've been working, because I have been busy. I've been working in the studio, mostly on the outside, because there's a lot going on there. I have been doing crochet, and I have been doing a bit of stitching. Not a lot, but I have done some full finishes, which I'm going to share with you as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly share my full finishes, and then we're going to do something quite special. Well, I hope it's quite special. We're going to have a little, as they would say in Pride and Prejudice, a turn around the room. We're going to have a little look at the studio, at my working space. Now, this is my temporary studio, because when I say it's my temporary studio, I've been in here for 2.5, 3 years now. But eventually, we are in the process of starting to think about renovating the double garage that we have, which is just by our house out the back there. And we're going to make that into a studio for me, which I'm quite excited about. It is going to take a while, because Simon and I are doing the work ourselves, because I don't know where you live in the UK, but it's almost impossible to get anybody to do work for you, especially if it's not a big, what I call a big sexy job. Okay, if it's not like 20 grand and upwards, or not even that, more. So you know, we can do a lot of the work ourselves. We have tools. We'll just take our time in the winter when it's quiet. We've done it before. We're going to dry line, get glass doors on. Once the work starts, I'm hoping to keep you updated as well on some of the progress with it. It's going to be a long haul. I'm hoping that by next year, this time, maybe I can move in there, because this space, as you will see when you go around, it's very, very cramped. I'm grateful to have the space to work in, because I'm in our second bedroom, because it's just Simon and I here now. The children have flown the coop. So I've reluctantly moved in here, because it's our guest bedroom, and I've got all my plans, you know, because a lot of my finishes, when I move out of this room, a lot of my cross stitch finishes and some of my artwork is going to be in this room, because we don't have that many guests. But I want it to be back to a bedroom, and I'm looking forward to having the space out there, which will be probably 3 times the space of this. So it's going to be great. And obviously I have anyway what you call auxiliary storage, which someday I'll probably take you for a little tour in there, where I have my mega stash. Because it's not just my craft, it's also the things I do for the art and the business and so on. And you're looking at, you know, I've a lot of the stuff you will see in here even, you know, it has accumulated over, say, 30 years. I'm sorry about that little piece of light there. You see it inside of my glasses. I can't get rid of it. I'm trying not to move around too much. Anyway, I hope you guys have been, everybody has been having a good summer. It's been a lovely summer here in the UK. okay. And Lincolnshire, of course, we're very blessed. We are a very dry county here. It's the poor plants have been struggling a bit, but we have had a bit of rain. Hopefully the farmers have had, because I live in a very rural farming community, and wheat is the big thing this year. A lot of wheat is all around me are fields of gold, which reminds me, guess what? Oh my goodness, guys, I've got to try. Hopefully because I don't want to do too much editing, because Simon does the editing. And this is one of the problems as well why you haven't seen me. Simon and I, we have a lot of shows on at the minute. I mean, he's been 1 week at a show, 1 week in. But during that time, we're making and producing and doing. And then he's back out again, and I turn around the caravan. You know, I get like all of his ironing done. I mean, he's quite happy doing his own ironing. He's well trained, but I turn the caravan around because he has to go and make placemats, coasters, and all those things. So he's busy. So we work it between us. I've also been doing a lot of work in the garden, which is another reason why I've not been here. I think this year has been I've been doing a lot of what I'd call big time sorting out here. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I'm reflecting on the year. I'm thinking, my God, last year this time, I seem to have had more time to be in control of things and doing my filming and all the rest of it. But I think this year, to be honest, has been spent a lot sorting out the big stuff. You know what I mean? Like going through Dad's stuff from where he passed and clearing out stuff, sorting through that. This room, for example, I've done a lot of reorganizing in here, and you will see the shelves and cubby holes. They're a lot more organized than they used to be. I mean, you don't know because you haven't seen them, but it was quite disorganized. And actually, there was too much stuffed in here. There's still a lot in here because I need all this stuff. Right? It's not like, you know, I need this stuff, and I don't have it all over my house. I like to have my cross-stitch things. Some of my wool is in here, but not that much. You won't see much of that. My art stuff, all the stuff I use for mixed media practice. I try and keep most of the stuff I use immediately in here. But a lot of it is not in here because it's not possible for it to be in here. But I'm going to show you my setup, and hopefully we will have fun with that. And to be honest, I'd like to say it was my idea, but it's not really. One of my lovely, lovely, precious little friends. In fact, she's almost like my little adopted, I don't know what you'd call her. I suppose she couldn't be my granddaughter. I'm not that old. I suppose she could be, but she's not going to be. But she is like, I think she sees me as like an auntie or a sort of grandma in a way. She's 11 and she's my immediate neighbor. But their house is still a way up the lane, right? Because there's only 3 of us really down this part of the lane, and we have quite a bit of farmland in between our homes. And it was her last day of school. Bless her heart. And I'm going to show you this. She came down to see me this week because she's finished junior school in the village and she's moving on to the senior school. And she's very creative herself. She's lovely. She's just a lovely girl. And she came down to see me in a couple of days back because she was off to Cornwall. And she said, "Oh, Auntie," she said, "at school today, we had to make a gift of kindness for somebody who meant something to me." And I've, you know, like, she's lovely. I've made a few things for her over the time. And when I was clearing out, I took her a lot of art materials and gifted them to her and so on. And I always try and give her something for Easter and all that. But, you know, for me, I didn't expect her to think of me, you know, with this thing. I'm going to show you what she brought me. Hold on. So anyway, so they had to think of somebody who they cared about and to give. So she came, as soon as she finished school, she came rushing down the lane and she came to see me and she gave me this. And she made it. Look, she's only 11. She hand stitched it all. It's in a little felt bag, which I shall treasure. In fact, I'm thinking if I could incorporate into a little needle minder. A little, you know what I mean, needle book. Anyway, in the little bag, I hold the bag up. There's a tea bag. And wait for it. Bless her heart. There's a little mint chocolate. But most precious of all, she's handwritten this little note for me. Right, so that's the note there. I put it up so you can read it for yourself. I'll read it as well. And it just makes me feel tearful. It says, "Roses are red, violets are blue. You are so very beautiful, and I'll always have a laugh with you. Love from Gracie Rose," and her little hearts. I just feel so touched. And I'm going to put it in a little frame and keep it here in my studio. She has made me some little cards and things over the time, and I've kept them all, you know, her Christmas cards and so forth. But I was so touched, so very touched, and that was so lovely. And we had a bit of a hug. So you're going to make me tearful, because I also have another tearful experience this week because I made some stuff for my daughter, but that's to come. And we have a little unopening, a little opening, unopening, a little opening video she did. I'll show you a little clip of that as well, which she will, if you want to see the full thing, you'll probably be able to see it on her channel. But anyway, we come around to that. See, we have a lot to talk about. Anyway, so yes, so we're going to have a little tour of the room. So I'm not quite sure how the format is going to work, but coming back to Gracie, part of this was Gracie's idea. So what happened was I invited Gracie up here, and it was a bit of a mess because I was in full-on production. And when I'm in full-on production, believe it or not, the room has been tidied up. It's not normally like this. The desk at the minute is clear, which is quite bizarre, because when I'm working in here, I'm working. You know, it's not fancy pants. It's proper working. There's paint, there's primer, there's gesso, there's stamps, there's everything going on. My hands are filthy, everything. So there's stuff everywhere. And there's stuff, will be stuff on the floor as well. Where like I've painted one, I put it over there, so, and whatever. There's stuff everywhere. So I don't, to be honest, I do not generally invite people into this space, because you know how people can be, especially if they're not creative, right? I don't want people judging me. Not that anybody really come down here, but it's not in my nature. Generally, I would go downstairs. Anyway, but Gracie is such a darling, and I know Gracie just takes me and she finds me. So she came to the door, and Simon told, Gracie is here. So I said, Grace, come up, come and have a look what I've been making and doing. So I went down to meet her. I said, Grace, now listen, it's a mess. Oh, it's all right. She was so excited. You could see it in her eyes. Oh, she'd never been in the studio before. And she was so enthralled. I said, but Grace, you know, and then she was saying, have you filmed anything lately? I said, well, no, because, you know, blah, blah, blah. So she said, look, just show them your space and just do the filming in there. It'd be fine. She said she does it when she's tidying her room with her friends. She does a video. So here we are. So anyway, we are 11 minutes in, and I've been ratting away, rambling, because I've missed you, see. But shall we start to get stuck in? Because we don't want this video to be hugely long. Although you know me, under an hour is not possible. Anyway, the first thing we're going to do before we look around the room, I'm going to show you what I did last Sunday. Last Sunday, I had some finishes, which I can't remember if I'd shown them. If I'd shown them, it was some time ago. And I have quite a few finishes which need to be fully finished. Most of them are going to be framed, and Simon, forget it. He will do it, but at the minute, we're just too busy. So I just was in the mood. And so I sat here and I spent a few happy hours making some final finishes in the cross stitch. I'm going to show you. So hopefully you will enjoy. So the first one, and I haven't got the patterns for some of these because I put them away. So the first one is a Brenda Gervais with thy needle and thread, and it's the rabbit and the rose. And look, I made it into a pillow. I hope you can see it. Oops, let me bring it in the shadow. It's a bit not so good in here. Now, I had beaded that, if you remember, and I've never made a pillow before. To be honest with you, these are the first full finishes of this kind I've made, and I've made it quite, I wanted it to have a bit of a sag to it, right? And I have put, because it's the rabbit on the rose, that's the back. Isn't it beautiful? That's Tilda fabric. And what I did was I did a bit of a Victorian style of applique. So I stuffed it from the back, and there was a hole here. So I quickly just hem stitched it up, and then I fussy cutted out a rose from the fabric, because that one was on the fabric. And if you can see it, what I did was I used I didn't use fray check, because fray check can sometimes mark the fabric. I didn't want to stitch it. I just wanted to sort of collage it on. And what I did was I used the white glue, the Eileen's, which is around there somewhere. Let's see. Eileen's. I don't know if any of you use this. Good stuff, this is. Eileen's. You can get it on Amazon. Can't remember how much I paid for it. It's not the cheapest form of white glue, but it's a good one. Very good. Doesn't mark your work, and I think it's acid-free, and it's made in the US. But you can get it on Amazon. You can get other white glue, like tacky glue, but Eileen is very good. It has many uses in textiles. So yes, so I use the Eileen's, and that won't fray now. And the Eileen also glues it down. And I'm very, very pleased with that. I have stuffed it with a mixture. I wish you could feel it. The squish test. It's very squishy. It's got a mixture of stuffing. It's got a bit of sawdust in it, and it's got a bit of lizard litter. or walnut shells. Although I have something else which I've been using, which is a substitute for the walnut shells, which I got from the pet shop, which when we walk around the room, I will show you my stuffing bucket where I keep all my stuffing. And it is lovely. And I wanted it like that with a little squidge. And it's just got a nice heft to it. So I'm really pleased with that, the rabbit and the rose. Yeah, and I'm pleased how the fabric goes well with it as well. So that's my first full finish. I put that over there. So I'm proud of that. And they're going to be living in the sweet cabinet, which we will see on our way around. The next full finish I had is this, which is a stand-up. Now, I think these are from, they might be from Scattered Seed Samplings. Again, it's on one of my previous videos, but I've long since filed away the patterns because when I finish, I file away, so I don't know. And this is a stand-up. There are two of them. They're companion pieces. Look at that. I stitch on the buttons. I'm really pleased with that. And I was a bit intimidated, to be honest, because I made up my own design for how I wanted to do it. I cut, you know, my own pattern. And I made up the circular part long time ago, but I was a bit scared. I was a bit intimidated, to be honest, to finish it, especially the bottom, because you can hear that solid bottom there. And I love the trim I've chosen. And I'm going to show you the other one in a minute. So I'll show you the two of them together. So that one has got a little key on it, a little miniature key. Now, the other nice distinguishing feature about this, I don't know if it will show up on the video, if you look closely, you see his chest is a little hairy. Yeah? His chest is a little hairy. Because I use that mohair stuff. Oh Lord, ay. You can I can't remember, the brain is gone, but you know what it is. It's the hairy sort of stuff you can get. You're all shouting at me now, aren't you? Oh, I can't remember. Anyway, it's a type of yarn, like a thread, a special thread that you can get that people use sometimes on the cross stitch, and I have shown it before and told you what it's called. But you could use mohair, and I tend to use one strand of it, and I use one strand of the floss as well, because I find it carries it well through the thing. And that was stitched on, I think, 14 count Ada, not dyed or anything. Lovely ribbon thing. And again, I've used Tilda fabric at the bottom, and that has got a hard bottom. I hand finished it all around the edge first by hand with the stitching, and then I just finished it off with that. So that's that one, and that was stitched with two strands over on the Ada. This is its companion piece here, right? There it is. Again, I hand dyed the mohair there because it was in white, that fiber, and Whisper, cracky, I remembered it now, Whisper, that's what it's called, and it comes in different colors, but I only buy it in white because I dye mine. And the little chicks, I'm hoping this light is going to be all right, you know, because I don't normally film up here, so of course the lighting isn't the best for this sort of activity. And the little chicks are all furry. I'm going to see if I can bring them in. Probably you won't see it. They're all furry. I've done them all in Whisper. And it gives them that nice dimension. Again, that one's little furry chest is done in Whisper. And again, a matching thing. Same bottom. So the two of them will sit together. And I'm going to put them back over there and show you where they live at the moment. They live on what I call my tree of happiness. And you'll see why I call it a tree of happiness. I like to have a lot of things in my studio, you know. I like to have lots of things to look at when I'm working. So those two just live there at the minute. They're blocking off one of their neighbors, but that's it. But my pièce de résistance, the one that I'm very much proud of the best, is this one. I'm going to bring it over here. Oopsie daisy. Now, this is my one and only, right, finish from my Peter Rabbit Hackett, what you call it now, subscription. God, I'm 18 minutes in and we haven't been around the room yet. Meet Peter. Look at him. He's also a stand-up. I love him. Love. Again, you would have seen him, I think, as a finish some time ago, but not as a full finish. And he's beaded and everything. And I have chosen the most perfect. I love the trim at the bottom. And it's got a bit of gold sparkle to it. That's his base there. Just a cotton fabric. Again, a hard base. It's got a cardboard in it. And then I love the fabric I've chosen for the back as well. I'm just getting the fluff off of it. He's a little lumpy there, but he is stuffed. He's quite hefty. He has got the same stuffing again. He's got sawdust in him. He's got walnut, and he's also got stuffing. Now, I like the way I've captured that bit of fabric on the back. I don't know if you can see it. It says, the little piece of fabric says, "Eating too much lettuce makes me sleepy." And there's naughty little Peter up to his antics there. A little Peter down there. So I'm very happy with those. But finishing like that wasn't good enough for me, was it? Because you know me and my creative self, I can't help it. So this I made for him to sit in. Look. Now that is his little cradle for his thing. You see the little fence that came from the works, that picket fence. And it's quite lightweight because I made that. That's like a card, and I've decoupaged, napkin decoupaged and sealed the base, right? I hope I can show him because yeah, so he sits in there like so. Hopefully I can hold it. Okay, and then to catch the little beads, he has this little, oops, it's gone, hang on, bear with. It has this additional little thing I made with some heather. That heather came from Scotland. I found it on the beach, and I put Mod Podge on it to make it feel more sturdy, so it feels like plastic. And then I put a bit of sparkles on it, and that's just some fake flowers. And then I sort of decoupaged the base, and I did try and glue it onto the stand, but it didn't want to go. So let me see if I can show you again. Hold on, bear with. There it is. So that's how it will stand displayed. I felt Peter needed a little bit of he needed a bit of a fence around him. So those are my finishes on the cross stitch side. When I finish doing the tour, I'm going to quickly show you what I'm working on at the minute. I'm not working in an awful long cross stitch, but I will show you what my plans are and what my whip is. I think I've only got a couple of whips to show you, but that's fine. You know, we're keeping it real because, you know, I'll show you all my amigurumi as well, what's happening with the amis and the crochet. And then I will also quickly show you what's happening with the art. And that's where the explosion really is. So shall we, without further ado, I'm going to pause you now because I'm going to put the camera, take it off the tripod, hold it on the stick, and we're going to go for a quick twirl around the room. Okay, so we've taken you off the tripod stand now, so we're going to try a quick turn around the room, have a look to see. So this is my desk here, which is what I call my dirty side of the room. And I call it that because, oops, sorry, my drink is in the way. Let's move that. You don't want to see that. Anyway, this is where I do a lot of the painting side of things. If I'm going to be doing working on the sewing machine, doing free motion layers on top of the pictures, if I'm doing that style of work, I do the wet stuff over here, and then we'll move around to where Bentley, my sewing machine, lives. But anyway, so you can see quite quickly here how the setup is. I've got brushes here. That's my big jug which I use for all of my my water brushes. I like to have a lot of water. That way I'm not getting up all the time. That's Mr. Inky Binky, as stolen from my friend who does demonstrations online a lot, Jo Rice. She calls her dirty rag Mr. Inky Binky. So that's Mr. Inky Binky too. Yeah. So I keep him there, and I just use it to wipe my brushes and whatever. I keep all my pens here that I use most frequently, and like these are all my polychromos here. Let's see, I have a lot of colored pencils that I do use, but these are where I think that's polychromo. No, that is something, yeah, it is a polychromo. Now these I use a lot when I'm doing my fairies and my girls, because I use them to work on their faces. There's a lot of that there. I've got like acrylics here. All my Mod Podges and my potions and motions are over there. My glues and all my bits and pieces. Bit of Ada there, straight into the spot. I've got a lot more brushes here on this shelf as well, and that goes right up to there where I have some of my cross stitch finishes up there, which are waiting for framing mostly for Simon, so I keep them up there in the basket and up there. So you can see there's a whole array of brushes. I have a lot of different types of brushes because it depends on what I want to do, what I'm doing, what purpose they are. Over on this side, so there's another desk space over here, which at the minute isn't normally this. You can see there that is a working thing. These are made out of tempered glass, these things. There's one, sorry, don't make you dizzy. One here as well. That they're from, I think, Tim Holtz. One of them is, I don't know what the other one is, but they're really good because they protect my table. You can mix things on them. You can use them as a palette. They'll well clean off, although I don't clean them that often, as often as I should. And you can cut stuff on them as well using your like your sharp knife or whatever. And then on this side, what else have I got? I've got my Tumbos, which are my watercolor markers that I really love to use. I use them quite a lot. Again, Japanese, quite pricey, but they're really nice, really art quality. These are, I hope I'm not talking too fast, but we've got a lot to see, so I'm kind of speeding through ASAP. These here are really nice. They smell like makeup and they look like makeup. And I use them a lot when I'm doing faces and things. They are actually pastels, and I tend to apply them with like a cotton bud. And these are from Jane Davonshire. They're really nice, quite good quality. They were a bit pricey. They're from Australia. Well, she's in Australia. Can't remember if they came from Australia. So that one I use a lot, and I do use this one as well. I do have other pastels though, but I do use those quite a lot. This jar I absolutely love. I got it at Country Living. I like having bits and pieces around me in the studio that make me happy. Some people might see it as clutter. For me, it just makes me feel warm and cozy and creative. That little set, this I bought from, you can put like, I don't know where, I think they come from Thailand. Don't know where they came from. Anyway, I got that at the show, and you can put like little candles in there, tea lights and stuff. And this little jar, I've got a few of these. They are vintage jars. I pick them up sometimes at craft fairs that I do, and it's just full of lots of goodies in there. It's got like some vintage Suffolk puffs and bits of fabric. I think that's, I don't know if that's a French general, I don't know. Little bits of ribbon, all sorts of stuff, and they're really nice. I love them. I can't remember how much I paid for that one. Sorry about the noise. No, it's not got its label on, but I just love them. And this little box I think I picked up. These are some old vintage spools. I made that little girl, made her little dress. A coffee stained her. Her ears are wired. I just need to get her finished. She needs a face, that's all. And there's another little doll hiding under there, but I didn't make that one. One of my finishes, that was my blessing sampler. That's one of my little plaques that I decoupaged and made. And a little drawer unit there, which I just keep bits and bobs in. My two finishes that you saw, and that one is hiding a friend who is sitting behind there. Oh dear, never mind, I need to sort them out. Anyway, this is the Tree of Happiness, as I call it, and I tend to hang little silly things on here, like that bauble that I made when I was testing out something. My burley stuff, a little one which I picked up somewhere, I don't know, probably on holiday, or people give me stuff. I love this one. This reminds me of, we do burley horse trials, and we went to the Burley Christmas fair last year, which sadly we didn't get a place in this year. We keep applying. I would love to do the Christmas fair there, but you know, there are not that many spots, and you just have to wait your turn, and you might get a stand space there with my art. So that's my Tree of Happiness. It just has things. It's got like, these are made by a really good friend who we do shows together at Hatfield, and she restores stained glass windows in churches. This one is quite pretty as well. It's an Easter egg, but it opens and you can put something inside. Another one of those vintage Victorian glass things. There's me, hello. And this was a bedroom, so obviously, you know, that mirror was there before, and I've just left it. It is a bedroom, actually. I shouldn't be here, but there it is. That's made by one of my friends, and we did a few swapsies. She used to make these, and yes, this is my happy place. You'll find that I have like lots of these sort of things around, because I don't throw things away. Like if I've been collaging and stuff, and I've got like a piece of paper left over, I'll put it in here or somewhere, because it might come in useful for something. That I got from the American Country Craft shop, which was my favorite shop many years ago. Used to be in Weybridge when we lived in Surrey. That's by like an artist that I came across last year, and it's just one of her little cards. That's her there, and I love that. I've got 3 of them in there somewhere. And that is a findling. I've shown that before. I found that in a charity shop, and that's from All Our Yesterdays, a vintage piece of cross stitch. And then I've got like boxes here with like various bits and bobs, you know, that I use for my art practice, mostly for my collage. There's more stuff there, because that's the kind of setup. If I pan out a little bit, whoops, there goes my cushion on my chair. Hold on, hang on. It's not very big in here, so you know, stuff happens. So that's kind of like the setup there. That, by the way, that cross stitch magazine there, I got my Hackett last month and they accidentally put 2 of the same numbers in and they didn't put a number 68, and they were so good. It came immediately as soon as I discovered it. I only discovered it on, I think, Thursday, and it arrived yesterday. So thank you, Hackett. So yeah, so that's my kind of working area. And then my chair, if I just push it in, no, look at the dirty carpet, because I've been cutting paper all week, so the carpet is a bit messy, and so my chair is there. I've got like an office chair thing. So then if we pan round, that's the wardrobe. That does have clothes in it. And this is another findling. I found this in a charity shop. I can't remember how much it was. It was so reasonably priced, and it is actually a cross stitch. Beautiful. I think it's an 80s one, and I think I've tracked it down online, and that it came, I think, as a kit with like that wooden business going on. But I'm very proud of that. I love it because I actually have the pattern for this somewhere as a vintage pattern, but somebody's already stitched the doll's house, so I don't have to stitch it. That's just a little plaque from the range, which I just picked up somewhere. Now we're starting to get into some of the cross stitch stuff now as well, because in this room I keep all the things that I use immediately, you know, like on my cross stitch fabrics I try and keep in here. My art stuff that I need for immediate creation are in here. So on top of the wardrobe I've got like this long box. It's an on the bed box, and I think I got it from the works. Anyways, they come flat pack and they're packed, and they normally have like a deal on them, and that's got all of my, if I come up close, this is all my full coverage stuff in here. So I have got like WIPS in here, I've got spare fabric in here, which is my gridded fabric that I use for full coverage. That box I think has got full coverage in as well. Again, I picked that up in the charity shop. These boxes are really cool, but you can get them a lot in TK Maxx, and they're really reasonably priced. They come in different sizes and they match, and I kind of like matchy. In this, which I'm not going to show you what's in everything. No way, I'm not going to be opening. It's crazy. We can do that another time. Maybe if I come in, you know, we focus on one thing maybe, and you can get a bit closer to something. In here, I have some of my spindles because I do spin, and my handmade spindles are in here. I do have my wheels as well, but I do collect handmade spindles and use them. So that's got my spindles in. I tend to keep my spindles locked away because I'm spinning real wool and I live in fear of moths. We have never had moths in here, but I'm terrified I might get them. In here, that box has got my fancy ladies in. A lot of these are kitted but not started. They're not WIPS mostly, because I've got a few WIPS, but a lot of those are kits, and you're going to realize why I should not be buying anything new. I should be stitching from stash. Up here, they're more fancy lady stuff as well, and patterns. Then in here, that's just like one of these hollow book things. It's like a storage box, and it's got some of my Christmas ribbons and trimmings for doing like backs of pillows and all that. These tins here have got all vintage lace in, vintage trimmings. Some of it is stuff that I have tea dyed, because I think it'd be really nice maybe at some point for little I might go through some of these tins and show you what's inside of them. Here I keep more trimmings. I try and keep all my trimmings together. I mean, this is not all my trimmings. These are the ones that I'm more likely to immediately use. That's just a little funky little thing I picked up, I think, in Home Bargains. And then more storage boxes. Now, this is all my Christmas cross stitch stash. Well, the stuff that is filed, because you will see on the floor in a minute some stuff that I haven't filed, because I'm quite anal like that. I try and file my stuff, because if I don't, I'll never find anything. Okay, so, and in here, so we're coming around the corner. So we kind of like going around the edge of the room, right? Coming towards the window, which was behind me when I was filming. And this bottle here, I keep a lot of my cotton threads in, like my moons and cotton and polyester, just basic sewing threads. These are just like, you get these like for canisters for like sugar and all that. Well, I buy those because I like my things looking pretty and I like them organized. This is like all of my sort of, they're crochet cottons, but I sometimes use them in my cross stitch, because as you can tell, those of you who follow me, I like to create different textures and I like to do creative things. And so these are all my really fine ones that I can use for cross stitch sometimes, for special effects. There's another jar of them there. These jars I get from IKEA. This little cabinet here was again a charity shop find. You'll find I have lots of charity shop finds here, and inside there is that from my friend Lindsay from Fiddly Diddly. She made that. It's handmade. And there's some little vintage. These are, I didn't make these obviously. These are little vintage bears. Old spools. That's an oversized cotton spool. And another little handmade from my friend who you saw before, who did my happy place. That's one of her plaques as well. These teddies are from were made by Dot Pebbles, I think she's called, and they were her samples. She was selling them off on Etsy, quite reasonably priced. There's 2 of them. There's a little one as well, and yeah, so it's just in the cabinet. If I pull back a bit, you can get a sense of the scale of that cabinet. It's quite a small cabinet, and there's one of my many handmade bears. I do have a teddy bear cabinet as well, but this is my this little one escaped. It's a little handmade bear. I tend to try and buy 1 handmade bear per year, a little one, if I see a nice bear maker that I like. These little guys are really funny. Amanda's got a set of them because I bought them for her, and I bought them, I can't remember where I got them, at Christmas time, and they're supposed to hang on your tree. I call them the knitting circle. If I move, let me just move back so you can see them. Look, the knitting circle. So they sit there knitting away, and they're made out of felt. And well, this is a darning mushroom that I picked up at a craft fair recently from this wonderful local artist. She hand paints that. Believe it or not, that's all done with Posca, and I think it's Posca pens, hand painted. Isn't that stunning? And then she varnishes them. I bought a spoon from her as well, but I don't know where it is. It was, oh, here it is. There's a spoon, all hand painted, beautiful. Her work was so stunning. I couldn't believe it that she hand painted them. Anyways, and that's my little Halloween tribute up there, because I love Halloween. As you know, a lot of these props in Halloween time, I will use it to display like my any Halloween stitcheries or cushions. I'll use them as props, but they live up there. And there's like that lights up if you turn it on. It's got little fairy lights, and I have what fairy lights on my window as well. This little lady here, it's a puppet from India, handmade with sort of vintage Indian fabrics, upcycled. I bought this. We went to India as part of our honeymoon, and so I've had these girls for over 20 years, and they've never been seen. They've been in a box. When I was clearing out this year, I found a lot of my Indian textiles, and I decided, you know what, I need to bring them out. That's the view onto the fence. So that's the view from my window. That's one little plant that hangs around in here. Coming down, we have my spindles all live here. Handmade spindles, and these are some of my spindle bowls. That's a handmade. Most of them are handmade. My spindles are handmade, so they're handmade. That's a beautiful one made by a Japanese artist. I bought it to show, and I use it for my supported spindles. That is my latest spindle bowl that I got, which is made out of beautiful handmade wood, and it matches a spindle. Some of my spindles, I kind of like to coordinate my spindles. Like, for example, if I take this one down, whoops, sorry, hold on, bear with, the bead just came off of it. That one, show you. So that's like one of my African spindles, and that's handmade, and the bead is a vintage African hand bead. It's made out of stone, and you see they just match. Look, are they nice? There's nothing nicer than when you're out. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Beautiful handmade things. Nothing nicer than using handmade tools. That was actually made in the UK. I don't think she makes spindles anymore. Her husband did the sticks. He didn't make the beads. They got them from Africa. Anyways, so moving down, that is a handmade as well by one of my friends. He lives up in the Peak District. And I saw him the other day, actually, because he's kind of retired now. And it is a yarn bowl, a sheep yarn bowl. Anyway, our man here, Samuel Whiskers, he is at the tailor's. You have met him. He's one of my amigurumis, and I'm making his waistcoat, and that's with lovely, it's either Moon or Yorkshire tweed. He's having his fitting for his cravat and his thing. So he's in the process of. I picked up these buttons as well, which I love. They're vintage, as you can see. I mean, they were 25 pence back in the day, and I'm hoping to use on a little bit oversized, but I'm hoping to use them. They're faux leather. I'm going to use them on his jacket, which I crocheted. This is by the machine. So this Bentley is my workhorse, my boy, who does all of my free motion machine embroidery. So this is my clean area now. I've left his light on because I was stitching prints today. And this is where I sit. So if I stand back, so the same chair we saw tends to swivel across the room because we're not that far away. And then I tend to wheel the chair over here when I'm stitching. Now, I was stitching prints this morning. So yeah. So that's where what I've been using. The threads don't all live there because, you know, even under my table there is stuff. And if I sit down, so I can reach down to the next level. So that's the machine. And at the minute, these things wouldn't be here. So these are some cross stitch patterns and stuff that are waiting to be filed. Modern Folk, I showed you them last time actually. That's one I bought. Hang on. I buy these sometimes from eBay. They are they're from like magazines and stuff, and people sell them. And these are some of my new purchases. I don't think you saw that. I don't know if I did show you that. That was from Sit to Stitch. Sit to Stitch, I think they're called. Yeah, Sit to Stitch, Etsy. I love that one. Anyway, these are waiting to be filed because I'm trying to sort through all of that. These are like fabric boxes. Whoops, hang on. Fabric boxes here, which are here only because they are for doing some of the pictures I'm using. So they're blocking. They're not always here. They normally live outside in the barn, but they're here for when I'm doing stitch prints or when I'm doing the mixed media work, which is to do with the free motion machine embroidery. So they happen to be there, but they shouldn't be there because they are blocking off something I want to show you, which is this cabinet, which normally lives here. And Brittany was going to throw this out. I said, oh, no, I'll have it. And I use these drawers to keep all of my linen in and my Ada. You can't really see it properly, but it's like it's got two little ones and then it's got two big drawers. But I'm gonna have to reorganize all of this because it's not really working that well for me. It's too full and I need to just go through it. And I think I've been misfiling stuff, and I want to go through as well and label all my linen. So hold on, let's pull it open a bit. You see in here it's like, you know, different types of linen for my cross stitch. So that's all cross stitch fabric under there. And they're also, I don't waste space. If I can get down to show you, hang on. No, we can't see it. Yeah, there's all these little boxes, which are really for cross stitch finishes in the future. Yeah, so I don't waste space. And even in here, we've got little thing with some of the threads in as well. My radio down there. So coming back up to Bentley again, we're going to move across the room. This is the light that I use when I'm working, and sometimes I use that light as well. That's the view I look at out the window. Let's have a look. A bit overcast on the fence today, so I'm very happy to have that view, and that's my part of the rose border out the front. Anyways, there's my fairy lights. I like to put them on sometimes. And these are some of my dolls. I did not make this doll. I think I got her. I don't know where I got her, but I've had her years and she is lovely. I love her. This one is made by one of my friends who doesn't do that many shows anymore, but she used to shows, and she's a Tilda doll. Beautifully handmade. Beautifully handmade. I can't remember the name of her company now. But anyways. And then that's a beautiful Chinese watercolor, which is an original painting, which is supposed to be in this bedroom, but as you can see, I've eclipsed it rather with my things. But it will get its moments of glory back when I move out. This unit here has been brilliant. Now, Amanda got me this unit. She had it and she wasn't using it, and I found that it was perfect. So that's what lives in there. Each drawer has my machine embroidery threads for my pictures, because that's the thing, you see. Whoops, that one has got collage papers in. See, and I keep my threads like that in colors, you know, like so. There in this area here now, we're starting to come into where I keep all my cross stitch threads and more trimmings. Now these two hat boxes here, they have ribbons in, velvet, all sorts of trimmings, because some of these trimmings and ribbons I do use, you know, like cut them up into small bits and use them in my collage work for my mixed media pictures. There's some other boxes there. You can see I like pretty boxes. These pretty tins here, they have trimmings in. All of these, some of these have got threads in. You're starting to see the threads coming through. Now these are variegated threads in here, but they're not branded, so they're not DMC or anything. They're just packs that I've picked up in Hobbycraft or wherever, and I keep them in there. So if I'm looking, I can't remember what kind of stranded threads in here. I think these might be some of my full coverage threads, because I keep my, whoops, something just went to the floor. Hang on, let me just bend down, pick that up. Yeah, I keep like those in there. And this is more storage boxes with threads in for various things. Up here now, I keep a lot of my cross stitch patterns and kits, anything kitted. So these are sampler kits in here, samplers. It says there, those boxes again I get from the works. That one up there has got a lot of my CXC threads in, because I mostly work in CXCs, as you know, not DMCs, but they are numbered like they are DMCs with the DMC numbers. So all my CXC threads live in there, and how I store them, which is a shame that I can't show you, because what I do is the way I store my threads, I've got two main big boxes of them. Well, is because I put them in plastic bags, like sandwich bags, and I put, like, say, all the 300s in one bag, all the 500s in one bag, etc. So like that one will have a run of numbers, like low numbers, then the other one might have high numbers, and so on and so forth. This is all my sulky threads. Sorry, I hope I don't shake you around. Bring that down. My sulky threads live in here. Sadly, sulky, you can't get them that easily anymore. So I like them. I use them for my cross stitch. These are special threads, and this box is really precious. I mean, I pull that down actually. Oops. Hang on, if I can find somewhere to put it. Let's walk over to Bentley. Let's go back over to Bentley. And I'll show you this one, because I'm not really going into the boxes, because if not, we'll be here forever. So this is my special thread box. Okay. And this one, I mean, you can do your own filing as you find suitable. But these are like all of my hand-dyed threads live in here. I haven't got a lot of fancy bougie threads, but I buy a lot of paint box. I collect her threads. So, yeah. And her threads are lovely. I see her at the shows. I've shouted her out before. And these are cotton pearl, and they were number 12. So you can use them on your Ada and on your linen, depending on the count. I mean, I've used them as high as 40 count, and they're fine. But I like things that give texture, you know. I like to mix up my texture, as you know. I like to add in things. So these are silk threads in here, and they're all hand-dyed. I picked them up at a show. I think I picked them up from Knitting and Stitching Show. And these are my precious, blooming expensive and lovely. Look at that. Yum, yum. These are my French. My Aversoir. I think they're Aversoir. Are they Aversoir? They're one of my soirs anyway. Yes, Aversoirs. And I got these from, some from the Knitting and Stitching Show. And some from, up in London. I did shout it out. I can't remember now. It's just my brain. Getting old, you see. This bag here has all my red threads, a lot of my reds for my red work samplers, because I want to start a red work sampler. I've never done one, and I would like to do a red work sampler. And you can kind of get the idea, right? So that's got all my special stuff. I think in here as well, there are a few of the ones that you're familiar with, the hand-dyed ones that we know of, that they sell, you know. Can't remember this one. Hold on, too much on the brain is slipping, but you know what I mean, like the ones you're familiar with, they would live in there as well if I've got any. So I'm going to move on from there quickly. So we're going to come back over to this wall. So all of those boxes on top, and this is like an IKEA hack here. So this chest of drawers was originally in the room. It's an IKEA chest of drawers. It's got clothes in it. It's not got stuff for me. And then I got that Expedite unit and put on top. So it's a brilliant IKEA hack. This is from IKEA as well. And the cubby holes. And it fits perfectly. Now, in these here now are all for my art, for my mixed media textile art and my free motion machine embroidery. These are the fabrics that I use when I'm doing new mixed media paintings or my stitch prints with fabrics in. So they are in color boxes as well. So like if I were doing sunflowers, or I was doing seas or trees, this is how I keep them. And then you have like that box, which is like my florals, which I use those as well and chop them up. That I just got from Temu. Don't know if you can see it. Some sparkly stuff. That's for my Amis. Although some of them could go in some of my stitch pictures. They're micro netting. So yeah. What else is there? And these are also some other threads, because I'm trying to file all of these. They used to be kept like that, and now I'm trying to get them into that unit over there that I picked up in the charity shop. I think it's kind of cute. Simon thinks it's a bit creepy. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but you know, there it is. These I might use for 2 cross stitch finishes, but at the minute they've got threads living in them. And these are some threads that just need putting away. They didn't put him back in stock. This is my, I buy this by the spool. That's my B200 DMC. And that's 310 because I use a lot of it and it's quite reasonable to buy it that way. So moving along swiftly, what we got? So we've got bits and pieces here that need putting away or whatever. Again, I've got my full coverage threads up here. I don't know what's in here. This says, oh, I know. This box here has got like lots of random anchor and various threads I've inherited or picked up in the charity shop. So they're randoms. In here, like I've got Peter Rabbit, which I think I'm going to move. This is not from my subscription. This is just random other Peter Rabbits that have. Drawn thread lives in here. Mill Hill lives in here. What have I got here? Oh, and this box, for example, has got general, cross stitch, miscellaneous, novelties, and Halloween. So that's kind of how I keep it, right? And then on top I have like the thread. That's the other big thread box up there that's full of bags of CXC thread. This I found when I was clearing out Mum's, and this is Appleton wool, which again I can use in my cross stitch. Well, I do. I use 1 strand, so I just put that there. I need to sort that out, that box up there. So we are traveling around to my favorite thing in this room. Hang on, let me move across. We are going to visit the sweet cabinet. Now I'm going to back off first to see if you can see it, get the full effect of the sweet cabinet. Let me go backwards. Check this out. This is my favorite thing in the world. I have shown this on Instagram before. This is the sweet cabinet. At the minute, the sweet cabinet is having a bit of a sort out and a reorg, because as you can see, there's some little amigurumi faces peeping out from the glass. Now my amis, I had a space for them downstairs, but I won't lie, I missed them. I didn't like them being downstairs so far away from me. So I decided to try and make some space for them in the sweetie cabinet. So shall we go inside? Hang on, let's open the door so we get rid of the glare and we see what's in the sweet cabinet. Now again, this is an IKEA cabinet. Originally, this cabinet used to have houseplants in. Believe it or not, it used to have certain type of rare houseplants in here that liked humidity, but anyway, those kind of like died. And so here we are. So in the sweet cabinet, it is a treasure trove, and it's where all my beautiful beads and yum yums live. And the reason why I call it the sweet cabinet is, if you notice, they're all housed in vintage jars and things. Now a lot of this stuff I've picked up from charity shops and stuff. A lot of it is Victorian pressed glass, etc. So you can see their buttons and buttons. I try and keep things together. Let's open that one. Should we see? Ooh, look at all those. These are sort of like just goodies. Put the lid back on. These little jars of sparkles and like those things. There's just everything. It's just wonderful. And the reason why I did it was because, like, I used to keep my stuff like other people do, you know, but I wasn't using them. I find that by seeing them, I use them more. And like that one, this big one around here, which is a big crystal jar, it's got like bits of trimmings in, special trimmings, and like spools of stuff, and like this little thing here, which is really cute, which I love. Little mushroom back there. I mean, it's just pure gold, pure treasure. Little sparkly beads, and it's just, you know, things that I have, things I pick up. So when I come to do embellishing, there's always, I look in here first. Little Mill Hill beads there. So it's just delicious, in my view anyway. So this is the shelf that I've been sorting out down here. And you can see, hello, she says. Now, we might as well do some of my Ami finishes as we're here, because this is where they are. So I will introduce you. This video is a little bit mixed, so I'm sorry if you weren't interested in Amigurumi and you only came for the cross stitch, but you know, there it is. So that is the little piggy. I can't remember her name. So she's totally finished. Her eyes are embroidered. Look at her. I gave her little bloomers. And her little tail even moves. So she's in here. We're going to have to sort this out a little bit better. We've got a little fairy door there. These are vintage spools, and they actually have 100% silk thread on them. And they came from the silk mill in Whitchurch. Many, many years ago, I was artist in residence there, many years ago. I displayed there, I think, for 6 weeks, I think. It was quite a successful show because I used to live near there. I used to live in Oxfordshire near Berkshire. This basket, I love this one. Lincolnshire Produce, it says, and the guy who makes this is a retired fella, and he sells in Lincoln Market, and I had to have that. I've got 2 of his trugs, and he said to me, are you going to keep your veg in? And I went, no, I'm going to keep my craft in it. Too precious for vegetables. So these are some of my little makes. You've already met them, I think, Mr. Mole. If you want me to do a special Ami, then I can do another Ami on them. I mean, one day we'll do another finish parade, but I'm sure you saw these guys before. But these have been made recently. So I only started doing the Amis in April, and we're now in July. So they're quite new to me, but I'm really enjoying them. The little polar bear with his 1920s vintage Suffolk puff, which I made into like a little headdress for him with beads. Whoops, sorry, hang on. Got you focused there. There it is. He's got his beads on. That's from Pick a Pow. You did meet him, I think. That's my little whale. And he just sits beautifully on that spool of silk. I love them. So these are some of my amigurumi finishes. I'll have to do some more pictures for Insta. I'm not very good at Instagram. So yeah, and then down here is more of the same, more buttons. And then like on the bottom shelf, I keep things like my block prints from the Indian Block Printing Company. Hang on. Indian Block Printing Company. But this is just full of delicious things. I mean, look at those miniature buttons. Those are tiny. They're for my Amis. Tiny, tiny little miniature buttons. A little jar, if I can focus on it. This one here, I decorated the top some time ago. I decoupaged it and glued all that on for my buttons. But yeah, I think you get the idea. Lots of beads. Everything. Wonderful little scraps of Indian fabric, and this, because I don't dare move things around too much, you see. Some of my sparkly fabrics live in here, which I do use for my mixed media practice. So yeah, so that's kind of the idea. So that's the sweet cabinet. And then over here in the corner, just by the door, because my door doesn't actually shut. That's the landing there. That's Eric. Hello, Eric. So he's always comes to us now. Eric is deaf, as you know, but he's always with me. Hello, Eric. Come say hello to everybody. He's always featured. Yeah, these, all of these also came from India. And when I was sorting out earlier in the year, when we had the big sort out, they'd never seen the light of day since India. And they're all antique Indian textiles. So because when I was doing my City and Guilds, I did a big study on Indian textiles. So, and there's a reason why that bag is there. We'll go look in there in a minute. That's on my haul. So yes, so if I move this basket, hang on. I best not show you the wall. That'd be boring, wouldn't it? Shall we look at the whale? Look at the whale. That's the side view of the sweet cabinet. I'm just going to move this onto the floor just for a minute. Oh gosh. Because I was trying to do some filing, right? So yeah, so these are some of the beautiful Indian textiles. There's another cushion there. So they just sort of sit here. It's actually a chest under there. If I stand back a bit, you can see there's like a chest under there, and in there's more cross stitch. And you haven't even seen the full effect of the cross stitch patterns. That's some of my stash there, which I'm waiting. That's from Hello Liz Matthews, the Vanity Sampler, and various others, as you can see. I'm just sorting out. I'm in the process of sorting. This is why I've been so busy as well, because I've been doing like some big sortings out. That's 2 more Blackburn kits that I have in my stash, but I'm not gonna start them. Sorry about the plastic. They're from Buffy Threads. I love these 2 samplers, but I'm not gonna start them until I finish the Moya Blackburn that I've got on the go. And there's some others there, but there are more in here, and the ones in here are to be sorted. I'll show you this. These are also like the they're puppets as well. They're the musicians. The 3 amigos, as I call them. And again, until a few months ago, these guys had been in storage in the loft for the last 20 years. And I thought I might as well bring them out and enjoy them. So that's kind of like the room. You can see it's quite full. You know, it is quite full. Let's see. I don't want to fall down the stairs, right? We don't want that. That'd be bad. But that's kind of where we've come from in the room. This bag, I'm going to lower down, see if I can show you what's in it. Oh, this is a bit of haul. And I know this video is in no order. That I picked up recently. I had to show you this. £2, right? For my Amying. Lovely end yarns there. Some sparklies. I'm going to have fun with that. These were £2 each. I picked them up in a charity shop, I think last week. I'm trying not to buy too much stuff. That's a dark one for all my gothic girls that I'm going to do. Because I want to do a Wednesday doll. And that's some green. And some of this stuff I can use in my mixed media stitch pictures as well. So yeah, I thought I'd show you those before I put them away. Yeah, I'm trying not to have too much haul, right? Because, you know, I've got a lot of stuff. Oh, the other thing I found when I was sorting through, we're back over at the desk again. Look what I found. This is serious gold. This is an old Blackbird design book. I've always liked Blackbird design, and I used to buy the quilt books. I never used to buy the cross stitch books back in the day. I could kick myself. I used to see them, but I never bought them because you used to have to use those. They never had DMC numbers in, and they had like things like Gentle Arts and all that, which we didn't get back then, back in the day in this country. And I didn't know what they were, so I used to just buy the quilt books. But this I found, and I'm so excited. Not only did I find the book. So this one here, the quilt, the main quilt in it, which was the one I wanted to make, which if I can find it, is this quilt. Isn't that beautiful? And I've found, whether I'll ever make it, I don't know, it's all applique. And not only did I find that in my stash, when I was going through my stash, I found, look, all the fabrics as well. Can you believe it? A load of fabrics to go with it, which I'd put together. Some beautiful fabrics in here. Shall we have a look at some of them? Some nice neutrals. Oh, sorry about the plastic. Hold on. I don't know what they are, but they're just gorgeous. I mean, look at these. Look. Beautiful, aren't they? I think I must have collected all the neutrals to like the background, you know? And I think I was going to do my birds in black rather than red. Shades of grey and black. Yeah, so all that. And I have so much treasure like this. And this is one of the reasons why I'm doing my amigurumi. Because with the amigurumi, I can use some of my beautiful treasure fabrics to make things for me. And I like anyway. It's quite good fun. Anyway, so now we're coming to, so like the desk, if I turn you around again. So the desk is there, right? And then that's where we were over there where the wardrobe is. And then we came all the way around the room. So we've gone all the way around the room. And now what we are on is this back area here. So if I go backwards. So this area is a mixture of hobby stuff, art materials, art books, acrylic paints, all the things, right? They live here. And these are things I use a lot. I'm in the middle of sorting out still because that's what I've been doing all this year. I've been going through every single thing and trying to logically work out what needs to be in this room and what doesn't need to be in this room and where to keep things so they're logical, so I can remember and think where they are and get better storage as well. Now, on the top shelf, just in this corner here to the left, it looks a bit disheveled because that's where all my rubber stamps live. And I use rubber stamps creatively in my mixed media practice, but I wasn't able to get at them up there. It didn't work, so I've moved them. They're not going to live there anymore. They live somewhere else. Yeah, because I use them quite a lot, so that space needs rejigging, and there's still stamps in those ones. So if I come in now, we start to do a quick pan round because I'm conscious that time is ticking along. We are 40 minutes into this bit. So up here I keep like things like all of my sleeves, you know, like those sleeves for filing, because when I buy digital patterns, I have to print them. I can't bear it. I do keep them digitally, but I have to print them, or else I just don't remember. I like to file, and you'll see the files in a minute with a lot of my cross stitch. I do the same with my amigurumi. These guys I picked up, they're faux bronze. They're not real bronze. They're from Wind in the Willows, and I got them from my friend who, I think her business is called The Enchanted Garden, and she sells fairy gardens and stuff like that at shows, and I love them. They're so cute. I love Wind in the Willows. These were handmade by somebody else. So I keep like, and these are some of my collage books that I use for like photocopying to get, which I'm allowed to use to get like elements for my collage mixed media practice. That's something from Scotland. Whoops, bit shiny. And then I just have things here, you know, like some of my labels and admin stuff. There's my Barbara Anna folder, cross stitch. This is just a bobbin that I got somewhere. Nice antique bobbin with some silk sari on. That's just something I picked up somewhere. There's some small rubber stamps in here, which are Christmas ones with Christmas motifs. And these are just some more bobbins, which hopefully someday will have cross stitch on. In here, I have all my acrylic inks. This is some of my sort of wood matte paint, you know, like chalk paint, because like I use wooden things sometimes to display my cross stitch, and so I use those little sample pots. These are now, when you see that your girl should never buy another thingy again. These are all cross stitch patterns in here. Look at them all, shocking. And they haven't got labels on, but they're things like my Brenda Gervais. I will keep them all together. I try and like keep them all together, like smalls are all together or samplers are all together. But some of them, where people like Stacey Nash and people I love a lot, they have their own folders. But I need to go through and label that. But I haven't labeled each one yet. And then in here, I have like some of my books, which are behind here, and I think this is mostly my crochet books back there, and then more art materials on the front. So I try and use the cubby hole so that I keep the art materials on the front, like the paints and stuff, because I'm gonna reach for those more than I'm gonna reach for the books. It's just gotta be done because I just haven't got the space. I made that little mosaic coaster. Up here there's another giant bobbin. That one is great. I mean, look at the size of that. I just pick them up where I can. I think I got those gifted to me, actually. These are acrylic pens and more crochet books back here. This guy, he's so cute. Hang on, I'm a bit close. He is very cute, that little penguin. I didn't make him. I bought him at Crochet. I did make him. He's made out of needle felting. And there's my sleeping mouse, which I also made. There's my Britty. That's my daughter. This is a tin I got when I was at Hever Castle because I love it. Mixed media books back here. Something I made in mixed media. Pick that up somewhere. And more of my books. Now, these are a lot of my cross-stitch books back here. Let's just move that. So these are some of my cross-stitch books back there. So they live there at the back. I'll just put that there. I'll fix that later. And again, over here, you see, I have to double-decker thing because I just haven't got the room. These are, I keep, again, try and keep my acrylic paints in like trays of color. So that's a lot of my blues, and these metallic gold ones are sneaked in. And in those are all my colored pencils, which I keep organized like that in those zipper bags. Up here, I've got other embroidery books. Yeah, which I keep. And in front, that I got from Hobbycraft. Hobbycraft usually sends me a voucher for my birthday. All of, you know, if you have one of their loyalty cards, and I picked that jar last year. Another little sleeping mouse and more Wind in the Willows characters from the same vendor. That's one of my cross stitch finishes, which you've seen in the past there. And behind there, I've got more collage books. I don't know what I've got. More paints back there. Sorry. And another one of those bunnies. But you kind of get the idea. I keep, and if we carry on down the line, I've got to duck down a bit. The lighting in here is not very good at it because we're right behind this. We're behind that structure there. You remember with all of the brushes and that? And another nice little sentiment there. So that you can kind of see over the other side of the room now. Yeah. So that's where I'm here. So here is my Peter Rabbit corner because I am determined to sort out Peter Rabbit. So last month I went out and bought all this storage, especially for Mr. Rabbit, and we're going to sort it out. That's all my Hackett stuff in there, which is my subscription. So that is on my radar because I need to sort out all the threads, which I'm going to put in these boxes. But we're going to do a little special on that. I will do it. You can do it with me. That's another one of my lovely puppets there, and another Tilda doll. And there's some wool in there. And more books behind here, mostly art books. I don't use them that often. These little tins are from M&S, and they light up, and they're quite fun. And then I've got buttons, charms, and God knows what stuck in the corners. Those are things I don't use that much because they're not that easy to get to. What's down there? More art stuff is down there. And in these bags here, I have got some of my wool, my Ami wool. And this, hold on. This is a Beth Russell tapestry. Oh, just hit you. Sorry. Can't get the stuff. Almost finished that. I dug that out and I really need to get on. All I need to do is to put a little bit more of the, it's a William Morris. It's a cushion pad. Got itchy nose. Anyway, all I need to do is get the last of the navy blue wool in, and then that's, oh dear, that's finished. We just knocked one of our little things over. A sleeping mouse is no longer sleeping. Let's pick him up. Let's have a look at him. There he is. Hello. Oh dear, let's put him back in his little shell. Night night. So he's gone back to bed. And I have lots of nice cute things in here just to make me feel a bit uplifted, you know, and just happy, because it's my happy place. And so if you carry on, these again are all cross stitch. All of these are full of cross stitch patterns, PDFs, or just patterns in general, which I've gotten from Peakside or wherever. That one says samplers. I think almost all of those are samplers. So you see, your girl has no business, absolutely no business buying anything. I need to stitch from stash. It's just not good enough, right? It's not good enough. Not allowed. Gotta stop. Gotta be a good girl. And I've got like little jar there with tiny bobbins in. That, I love this metal thing. I picked it up in the charity shop. I don't know what it is. It's like this jar sits in it. I think it's meant to have a candle in. And I just loved it. And I thought it looked really nice in this little, I like these little arrangements, you know, the little bird. Where is he? There he is. He came from Sainsbury's. And I've got, these are all silk threads in there. Vintage ones. So yeah, so that's kind of pretty much the room. The sun has come out on the fence too. The fields are looking beautiful. We'll end the tour. Oh no, we can't end the tour because I've got one last thing to show you. Forgive my dirty windows. I can't get window cleaner. Saw one the other day, waved him down and he waved to me and drove on. Would you believe? Yeah, the sun has come out. And the wheat is looking beautiful, glorious. We went to see Sting in concert at Lincoln Castle, which was part of my Christmas present. Absolutely awesome. Anyway, Fields of Gold. What can I say? That's my favorite song. And that is just it right there. Right there. Anyway, the other thing I was going to show you quick before we end this part of the tour is my stuffing. I'm going to talk to you about my stuffing, what I use for my stuffing, because I use the same stuff for my pillows as well as my amigurumi. Down here, again, more cross stitch for filing. Do you see what I mean? Can you see my problem? This bag is from Jack in the Green. My artist, my artist friend, one of her tote bags, she draws all of those beautiful illustrations. I'm getting on my knees. Might be able to get up again. So this bucket, these are all cross stitches for filing, right? Yeah, I'm trying to get everything organized. This was one of my back in the old days, which I bought from AliExpress. I don't really buy those anymore. Didn't know any better then, but you know, hey ho. I paid good money for them, so they're mine. So this is where I keep my stuff in. Not all of the stuffing, because the soft stuffing isn't in here. But I was just going to show you, for those of you who don't know. Oh Lord, if I can get in. Hold on. Bear with. Hang on. Yeah, I was going to show you, because you hear people talk about these elements and you don't know what they look like. So, in here, now this I got from my friend's husband. He's a woodworker. Pardon the bit of clothes sticking out the drawer. And that's sawdust. So that's what I use. I put that into my pillows. You know, it's just wood shavings, really. So that you can get it in that form. Or you can buy it like that, like pet bedding, which is finer. And I bagged it up and just kept it in here. I don't use polyfiller at all. I either use K-Pop, which later on I might be able to show you some K-Pop quickly when I show you the amigurumis. But I use it from pillows as well. And my stand-ups, which I did. This was the stuff the lady sold me. Because she didn't have any walnut shells, and that works very well actually. Yeah, and it's quite heavy, and it doesn't come out through the fabric or anything. And then I've got walnut shells down there. Buy those on. It comes in different grades. That's a fine grade. I should have bought a medium or a thick grade, but anyways, so we put that back in there. I'm trying not to make too much of a mess, because guys, we're in the process of tidying up. There are more threads there. So yeah, I need to file these this week and get them put away. But that is, I think, concludes the studio tour. Let me try and get up. Oh dear, you go down, you can't get back up again. So yeah, so this is where I tend to spend a lot of my time hanging out. I've been in here a lot. And when I show you what I've been working on very quickly, a parade of what's been happening in the art section, then you will see what your girl has been up to. So I'm going to end this bit now, and then we're going to quickly just go through what I've been working on, and I think that'll be it really. Okay. Right, so hopefully you enjoyed the studio tour, and now I'm just going to quickly go through some my cross stitch stuff I've been working on, WIPS. I haven't got a lot that I've been working on, although I am planning to this week, because Simon's away this week, so I've back again. I'm here on my own, which I get a lot of stuff done on my own. When I'm here on my own, I use the time to do a lot of my sorting out and a lot of my artwork and stuff. But anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm planning to go into my, because if you remember at the beginning of the year when I did my WIP parade, I haven't had the chance really to go back through my WIPs just to have a look. Now the seasons have changed. I had said I was going to review it like 6 months, June, July. End of July. So I'm fancying some maybe, because I'm starting to pick up back my stitching, because at night when I stitch, because I most stitch at night, and I've been too tired, so I've been doing mostly crochet after I've been finishing in the art studio. And when I show you the art update, you'll see why, because it's been really busy here. So anyways, I'm gonna go through my WIPs, because I fancy some summer stuff. So I'm going to have a look. I'm going to revisit some things like my Soda Stitch and my Michael Powell Beach Huts and 10B and things like that. And then I will have a look through to see if I want to maybe work on some of those, and I will show you. Anyway, let me show you what I've been doing, because I have picked up the needle, but I haven't done a lot. And I have been working on WIPs. So the first one to show you my update on is this one, which is Seasons of the Heart. Brenda Givet, with that needle and thread. I like to call her Brenda Givet, but with that needle and thread, you know what I mean. And this is a small. I hadn't done a lot on it. I decided to pick up stuff that I might be able to get a finish on. So that one, I've done a bit of progress. I've filled in the house. Sorry, let me see. Now, my board. Hello, I bought a board, right? I went all the way to Lincoln, half an hour's journey, picked up the board from Hobbycraft to make myself one of those fancy boards, right? And I thought, well, I won't make it because there was a piping I wanted to use and I couldn't find the piping, but I knew I had it. So as I went to my stash, I found the piping. Guess what? Can I find the board? No. Can I find the wadding? No. Where have I put it? I mean, it's an A3 board, for God's sakes. Anyway, it will turn up. Let me just put something else behind it. So I've filled in the house. I've only done a couple of nights on this before my eyes have shut. I'm using my own colors. All of the oak part is done. I'll show you the pattern again in a minute. I'm just filling in the house and I'm using my own colors. It shouldn't have taken too long. I want to get this as a finish and make it into another little pillow like I showed you earlier. So I worked on that. And I've also pulled out some fabric. So that's the picture again. So I've done all of the oak. Hold on, sorry. I've done all of the oak. And I'm hoping tonight to just get all that done and maybe finish filling in the house. Then all I have left is this bit there. And I'm going to make it into a pillow. And that's the fabric I've chosen, which I think is really nice for the back. I think that's going to be nice. Okay, and I'm working that. Now, this is another interesting thing. Now, this is one of my old WIPs, right? And I started it off doing it 2 threads. I don't know what count this is. I think it's 28 count. It might be 32, but it's not going to be more than 32. I can't remember. I didn't write it down. Anyway, so that's why I got linen. I had started doing 2 threads of CXCs. In fact, I think this has even got DMCs. It's that old. I started using up 2 strands, but I don't like 2 strands. I don't like it. And you know what I did? I thought, well, I ain't frogging it. I thought I'm not frogging it. Forward only with stitches. So what I did was I just changed up the house. The house is actually being worked in 1 strand, even though these corbels, the brick corbels on the end, that other color, I hope you can see it, sorry. They are in 2 strands, and this green part is in 2 strands. I've changed the house to 1 strand, and the door is 1 strand, and the windows are 1 strand, and I'm quite happy. It's my stitching and I like it. So so it goes. Taste change, isn't it? So that one I'm working on. Let me just move these because I've got everything here lined up to show you. Let's put that over there because I don't normally film this in here, so that's fun. The other piece that I have picked up that I intend to work on this week is this one. I didn't do any work since I showed you, I won't lie. I haven't done anything. This is on a 36 count linen. And that is for the top of my box. It's from Leila's Studio. And it is going to be the top of my sewing box, my travel sewing box. Remember we showed? Yeah, for those who haven't seen it. I need to sort out that. It was a jewelry box, so I need to fix up that. But that is from Leila's Studio, the B sampler. Again, a PDF from Etsy. And I'm just working this cartouche. I want to do the whole pillow because I think it's nice, but that's for my sewing box. Something has fallen on the ground. So those are the two main things I have actually worked on. I have put a few stitches into one other, which I'm going to show you, which is Hello Sunshine, and it's a Rendale. So if I show you the pattern first, bear with me. It's a kit, and it can't. I get my. I tend to buy. Let me get on the plastic bag. I'm sorry if it's noisy. Let's take it out. I get mine from Cotton Club Crafts. My Rendales, right? Hello Sunshine. And I have put a few stitches in it. That one. Hang on, let me just put this behind it because we've got the window behind. Yeah, put a few stitches in. Not many, but a few. So those are the ones. And this is being worked on a 28 count even weave. The kit came with Ada. I did show it last time. Oh, look. I've got my glasses string matching. I didn't make it. Yeah, so I did show it last time. It is a speckled even weave that you can buy direct from Botty Threads. You can't get that from Cotton Crafts. And it's got the Rendale trademark speckles on it. I just didn't fancy working this one on Ada. Sometimes I work them on Ada because I've got a lot of Rendales on the go. But I didn't fancy it. Let me just move all the cross stitch because we're going to I want to go as quickly as possible. I don't want to take up too much of your time because I've taken up lots of it already, and I know other floss tubes are available, and we have to do the art yet. So I'm going to just move these off the desk quickly. Just bear with me a minute because we are at the art desk and there's not a lot of space. So let me just move all of those to one side. Okay, on the before we move on from cross stitch, I'm moving to Amigurumi, which is update, which is where we're going next. I'm shaking you a little because I stuck it on my thing. I want to start a red sampler, a fancy one. I've got a few patterns. I haven't looked through properly yet, right? I haven't, but I just pulled out these through. This one, actually, I think I would prefer to work it as a black sampler. Got that from Etsy. And it is from, oh, Lord. Oh, Lordy. I can't remember what the company is called, actually. Anyway, that's the designer there. That's the designer. If you can see it. But I like that one. I like all the scissors and everything. I don't know. I kind of like that. But I think I would do that as a black sampler. You know what? I'm terrible because I love color, right? I like the look of a black sampler and I like the look of a red sampler, but I love color. And so I'm like, that's why I think I've never done one because like, I'm like, I like it and I want to do one. But then I keep thinking, oh, but I could have done this and I could have. But I quite like that. And I'm thinking, I tell you what I think I would like to do with this one. I think I would love to do that in black, but then put some metallic gold in here and there, where the machine and the scissors are. I think that might be nice, like some, you know, accents, but I don't know. So it's one I'm thinking about. The other one from my stash I'm thinking about, which is from this Happy Mood Point, I think they've come from, on Etsy. I buy a few things from them from time to time. This one I really love, and this is the one I think I wanted into a red sampler. But what I'm thinking is to, you see, they have it presented like that, and I would love a band sampler, like a long thin. So what I would love to do is do that, just as do it that width, you know, and keep it going down. What do you think? I think that could work, and I think I would do two together, like these two, one under the other, and then those two, and then make a nice pair. I don't like it like that, not to my taste. But, you know, it's to each person taste. But it has some beautiful motifs in it. Beautiful. I've got it in the bag, so I hope you can see it. It's not too shiny. So that I'm thinking about. because I want to do a red sampler. What else have I got? Oh, and I picked this up on Etsy recently. I'll show you. I'm going to put it back. Hold on. I'm going to take this out of the bag. And it is the Jane Austen sampler, because I was watching Periwinkle Stitcher on Flosstube, and she went to Jane Austen's house. And you know, my husband comes from Hampshire, you know, it's shameful, and we used to live up the road, and I've wanted to go to that house, and I'm thinking I would love to go and visit Jane Austen's house. But I saw this, I think it's a vintage. I think that might have used to have been like an anchor kit or some kit. I don't know. I don't know if you can still get it, but you can get it as a pattern on Etsy. It's quite a big sampler, but it's called the Jane Austen sampler. I like it. So I bought that, even though I have no business buying. So I got that. I'm trying to think if there's any other plans on the cross-stitch side. Oh, and the other thing I was going to show you is what K-pop looks like. Now, that's the stuff I was telling you that I like to use for stuffing my pillows, and I use for stuffing my stand-ups. Now, I am not a fan of the polyfiller. It's not to my taste. I've never liked it. I don't want it. I don't like how it look. I don't like how it feel. I don't like anything about it. So I used to buy from, in the UK, from World of Wool. I used to buy wool roving, which they sell as a stuffing. They also do a budget stuffing as well, which is a mixture of wool offcuts, and I think it has some polyfiller in it, but it's got more heft to it. But I've never bought the budget stuff. I used to buy the nice carded wool, which they sell as stuffing. Anyway, what happened was, because I've done teddy bear making in the past, and I like teddy bears, I know that the teddy bear makers use K-pop. So I didn't know what K-pop was, and I saw they sold it. So I thought, well, I'll buy some K-pop. This stuff, now this is what it looks like. You see how lofty it is? Look, it's soft as a feather. Soft, soft, soft. The only thing with K-pop, I think it comes from a pod. It's a natural thing. It comes from a tree like cotton. But what you will notice, I don't know if you can see it in the light. You see, if you start move it around, can you see all those fluffs that come off of it? So if you are somebody who suffered from asthma, now I think it's hyperallergenic. I think so. They say it has some good qualities to it, and it's very warm and very soft, like silk. But if you had something like asthma or something, I don't know how you'd get on, because to me, those little dust things, I don't know if they'd bother you. But anyways, to me, as far as I'm concerned, having tried lots of different types of stuff in my dear, this is the creme de la creme. This is the queen. It is the more expensive one, of course. But what I like about it is when you use it, they use it a lot in teddy bear making. And when you use this, the feel of the thing is, I don't know what it is about it. When you stuff the pillow or whatever, it gives it a particular feeling, and it's just lovely stuff to work with. So that's what I use. I have a big bag of it. I buy it in bulk because the postage is very expensive from there, so you need to buy as much as you can store. So I can't remember, I think I buy 5 kilos or something, and then I keep it in this basket. I got these from Aldi. They had them in the spring. Cute, aren't they? I think they were ever so cheap. They were like $1.99, and I bought about £10 worth. My husband said, "What are you doing with those things?" But look, I keep my K-pop in it. But I have the main storage elsewhere, and then I keep that nearby, you know. So I think on the cross stitch front, that's it. I'm hoping that you'll stay for the rest. If you're not staying, and you've had enough now, you're moving on, you're going to miss out on my amigurumi and my crochet, and you will miss out on my art update. But, you know, so it goes. I thank you for coming just the same. Don't forget to hit the like button and so on, and tell your friends about the channel. Anyways, hopefully you are staying. So we shall crack on quickly. So the next thing is, because we've got haul to talk about, we've got amigurumi to talk about, because I've been buying some other stuff that I want to show you, some new gadgets and all sorts of stuff, right? So the other thing is, I have decided to stop wifing things up. When I was sorting out, right, I found this. Don't you love it when you buy things like that? Look at these velvet ribbons. Luscious. I don't know how long I've had them. There was a blue one as well, a light blue. I've had them in the box, right? With the plastic cup top on. I think I got them in the range. I don't know where I got them. 4 meters on each one. And they're gorgeous colors for finishing, aren't they? Look at that wine red. And you know, I only just opened them this morning because they're too pretty for me to open them. And I'm thinking, this is ridiculous. You need to stop it. You need to start using the things, right? So I opened that up. So I'm going to put that away with the trimmings. So I thought I'd show you that. Then another thing I've found, which is really nice, nice for finishing certain things, but also for my amigurumi dolls, for making clothes. I have been discovered, and I have some here. Sorry about the crispy. And I'm going to show you a girl that I'm making a dress with this with. This is gorgeous. And I think you could use it for some of your cross-stitch finishes as well. It's muslin. It's baby muslin. For wiping mouths and whatever. But they're so nice and they're very reasonable. That I got from B&M. And what it is I love best about them, they come in coordinating packs, right? So that's a pale pink spot, that one. I got this one from B&M. Hold on. Sorry about the crispy. I'll show you what I mean. In fact, let me bring the whole bag to show you. Noisy. I'm going to try and pull this out. These are just some haberdashery, and you know, this is for my Ami, but I can use it for pillows as well. So hopefully you people who are doing cross-stitch finishes are interested. So what I like to do, I'm going to see if I can turn you so you can see, not me, but see what's on the desk. Yay, that's better, isn't it? That's better. So what I was going to show you is this muslin. So let's move this out the way. And this is how I design things, like if I'm doing a cushion, if I'm doing a picture, whatever I'm doing. So when I was in B&M, I saw these packs of muslins, but look how they coordinate. So that's the strawberry, which goes with the pink, which goes with the spots. Look at that. Isn't that nice? And I like the feel of the muslin. I think this pack of muslin was something like £4, right? And immediately I saw potential. And each one is quite big. You get a lot of fabric, but I like the feel, and it's 100% cotton. Look. And you get them all over the place. You get them in baby shops. Look how much fabric. Look here. You see it? That's a lot of fabric, isn't it? So I have taken I spotted some more in Aldi, which I'm going to show you. Yesterday when I went out shopping, we went with Theo to Sheffield for his birthday. And I spotted another couple of packs I bought. I'm going to show you. But wouldn't that be nice for finishing something with your cross stitch? Or for me, I'm going to use some of it for my Ami dressmaking. So for this doll I'm going to show you in a minute, which I'm designing a dress for, I pulled out these ribbons as well out my stash. I thought they'd go with the colors. Then in Home Bargains, I had bought those some time ago. They were in my stash. These little buttons, aren't they cute? Again, you can see how you can use it for me finishing different things. I picked that out of one of my vintage jars I showed you, and that's a 1920s Suffolk Puff, a vintage one. I think that could go with it. And then I pulled out this ribbon as well. I thought that's a possibility. Okay, so that's how I put my ideas together. You see? And that one is quite nice too. I have to choose. Obviously, I'm not going to use all of them. I found this one in there. Whenever I see nice things, I just buy them, you know, and stash them. Look. So I thought all of these colors are just so nice. And I found these as well in my stash somewhere. I don't know where I got them from. Little fabric here. I don't know what they're made out of, but they're like little leaves. They look velvety, and I thought that lot would look good. And having said that, for another composition, what about, not necessarily with this lot, but what about that fabric? I saw that, give it a whole different look. Wouldn't work with this, obviously, wrong things, or that one, but those cream ones would go. That would go with it. You see what I mean? And you could do that as a sort of underskirt with it, because you have that pale pink. Those would work. So yes, so keep an eye out for the muslins. I think they're very nice. I'll show you the latest pack I bought yesterday. Hold on, let me just move these out the way so I don't make a big nasty mess. I thought I'd just share that with you. I like to give you ideas, you know. I like to drag you off into the long grass with me. So I'm going to put that over there. The other thing I found in my stash, these are from the Works. These are quite nice as well. And you can see how cheap they are. I just like to put these things in the sweet cabinet. So we'll put that there. Now in Aldi, when I was in Aldi yesterday, I can't remember, these were even cheaper. Blimey, these were £2.50 a pack. I found that set of muslins. Cotton again, 100%. Similar size, I presume. They feel a bit bigger actually. But I like the color combo. Isn't that nice? All the colors coordinating nicely. I like them. And you know what? This muslin would make very nice Suffolk puffs. You know, little Suffolk puff I showed you. They would make nice ones. Some people call them, there's another name people call them. I call them Suffolk Puffs, which are the English way of calling them. But there's another, yo-yos, the Americans call them yo-yos. But I like to call them Suffolk Puffs. But they would make nice Suffolk Puffs as well. I like Suffolk Puffs very much. So that pack I picked up, £2.50. And I also picked up this pack of the blues. I like that. And even though that one has got little dinosaurs on, I think it's quite nice. If I did a boy Ami, that would be quite nice, couldn't it? That make a nice little shirt for him or something. And that would make like a nice pair of overalls. But you could again use it for finishing other things. But that's something to keep your eye on and to think about. So that's that. Then yesterday when I was in, this one is distracting us. It's in the way. Let's move these. Let's turn it over. So it's not in our face so much. Let's turn it over. Yeah, so when I was in Sheffield, I found this most delightful haberdashery shop. I'm hoping Simon might get a little clip in for you. And I bought, it was in the market. My goodness, Sheffield, the market. Sheffield was just lovely. I just loved it. And the market had a big, gorgeous, old-fashioned haberdashery shop. And I got those from her. These, again, they I think they're made out of paper, but they're quite sturdy. And they're nice. The colors are nice. They almost look hand-painted. They could be nice for finishing off some of your cross-stitch finishes, or in my case, I have an Amigurumi in mind, which this is going to go with. Then I got some of these lovely ribbons from her. I love them. Different sizes in black and white stripe. I have got a wider version of this. She had it in different widths, but this is a sort of dusky pink and black ribbon. I got some of these. You've seen these before. They've been around a long time. I like them. And I got a mixed pack. Yeah. She is lovely. Oh, and the best thing ever, this is still in the plastic. It's a button. It's a little crown, a little rhinestone crown, which I think could be nice for embellishing something or the other. So, yes, so I thought I'd show you that haul. I'm really trying not to buy too many patterns because I've got loads and I need to be working with the ones I have. Isn't this cute? Look at that. A Suffolk Puff that goes with that pile. Anyways, moving on swiftly. Let's move that over there. Now, so I think, let me just look around and think, make sure I haven't missed anything out on that section. I think that's that for that part of things. So I'm going to move quickly into what I've been doing on the Amigurumi side, what I'm working at the minute, because you've seen some of my finishes. So on the Ami side, my plans, I'm working on this guy. Now, it takes me about, to be honest, it takes me about a day and a half to finish an Ami. Hang on, let me find his pattern, her pattern first. So this is this little one. And this is again from Etsy. And it's a lady I'm addicted. I seem to be addicted to her pattern. She's got a sale on at the minute. And she's called Carmen. Carmen Rent. She trades that, but that's her name there. Look at the cutie. And you can see why I bought those little roses. I'm going to use them in a sort of composition with some beads and stuff, and a few of the paper ones as well to make the top of that pretty dress for her and her hair. And her little hoodie comes off. I had to do a lot of jiggery pokery on her though. I didn't like the way her shape of her face was coming out and stuff, so I did do my own thing. So at the minute she looks like a child's rattle. Because she hasn't got her legs. In her body small. And her little arms. And this is the second Carmen Rent. I've got two of her designs that I'm working on in a minute. I'll show you the other one in a minute. And she's so cute. I decided to add this fur bit to her hoodie. And I'll show you. She's bald underneath. By design. Her hoodie comes down. So I decided to put that fur trim on. Hang on, let me put her back in. I've embroidered her eyebrows. And one of the things I like to do is I like to do a bit of sculpting on the snout, right? I do. And, yeah, and I put her safety eyes. I often use safety eyes. Now, these are not for children. They are meant for the collector's items as far as I'm concerned. I'm not planning to sell them. They're just for me. This is so soft, this wood. It's made out of a type of yarn. And so I embroidered her nose and her mouth and her little eyes. And then I sculpted the eyes so that they sort of set into the eye socket by using wool and so you can't see, and I've done her mouth. I will put her makeup on, so she'll have a little bit of blusher and stuff, which I will use my pastels to do that. But yeah, so she's work in progress. This is one ear. She's got these extra large ears, and with the ear I'd put in some mohair, some silk mohair to make them fluffy. I like to add things. And that's, if you notice in the picture, her ears are so big. Look. They're huge. And when she sit, they flop down. I'd made a really bad mistake on the ears the first time, though. I'd used the wrong size hook. And I kept thinking, oh, that don't look right. And it was because I wasn't paying attention. I hadn't read the pattern properly. And it said to change the hook size to a bigger hook. Because the key with Ami is to use a smaller hook than you would normally use for the yarn. So those of you who are interested in Ami and more interested, a bit more detail on our statistics, I tend to work in double knit yarn. This is a double knit acrylic mix. A lot of Ami makers and designers like to work, amigurumi artists like to work in Aran or cotton. I don't get on with either of those really. So I find that what works for me is a nice. Now this acrylic here I get from Boys, which is a department store which you have up here in the Midlands and the North. And it has 20% wool in it. But oftentimes I'll use just plain acrylic. So yes, so I've used 2 of their colors for that. So that's it. One of the things I like about amigurumi, certainly the way I do it, it's a very reasonable craft. It's actually more affordable than cross stitch even. I mean, that yarn was £1.75 a ball, and I will probably be able to get 2 or 3 amis out of 1 ball because you're only using certain. So it's quite an affordable hobby. So that's one ear. I'm in the middle of the other ear, and then I just have to do the legs. This is the oh, I've got the yarns. I can show you some of them. That is a drops yarn, and it has got silk in it and mohair and acrylic. I love that. I tend to string it together with what I tend to do, because I can't work with that. I cannot knit or crochet with mohair. So what I do, and you could use this for your cross stitch as well. Imagine it. You could use that instead of Whisper, you know. And it comes in different colors, and it's actually cheaper than Whisper. And if it's, say you had like a few stitchy friends, it's only £2 something for this. Whereas you get a little card of Whisper for more money. So if you were to buy that, what you could do, you could club together, buy a few colors, because you can get it on Wool Warehouse. I get mine from the Wool Factory in Skegness, which I've shouted out before. And yeah, you could club together and then share it. And it's save a bit of money. But what I tend to do is I tend to string them together. So I string one string of that with one string of that, right? And I use it. This is what I mean by carrying. I use the thicker one to carry the troublesome one. I also will do that sometime with Krynic. When I'm stitching with Krynic, I'm a cross stitch. The shiny stuff, which is a pain, or as Michelle, Mama Loves You, call it, the devil's backside hairs. That's what she calls sparkly threads, because they're so hard to work with. But I find that if you have a carrier thread, it's actually easier to work with. So that's one. And this is the yarn I was telling you about. Bargaining is I've been back to Boys, because apparently once it's sold out, it's sold out. It's what they call a star buy, £1.75, and it's got 20% wool. I have it in quite a few colors. And then what else is in there? This is one of my fancy hooks, my fancy crochet hooks. That's from the Quilted Bear, and they're beautiful. They've got metallic gold on them. Very nice. I only use ergonomic hooks. But with the Amigurumi, I've discovered something. I find these, for me, these circular type ones, which I use for a lot of when I'm doing my crocheted blankets and stuff, which is fine. I don't find them as comfortable with Ami, because with the Ami, it's very tight. Because you are working with a smaller hook. So for example, if you were working double knit here and you look on the back of this yarn, it probably would suggest a 4 to a 4.5 needle in UK speak. In American, what does it say? Let me see. Hold on. It probably typically this one won't tell me. Hold on. Bear with. Yeah. So sorry. It says 8 UK or a 4 mil. So I don't know what that means, but I think the 8 is the American, even though it says 8 UK. Anyway, yeah, sorry, I'm letting you down on the technicalities. But for me, you see that hook has got a 4 on it. That's a size 4.00 mil. And I work in mills. I don't know what the 8 means. I don't know if it's, I don't know what that is. Anyway, I think that's old money. I have no idea. But all my needles have got digital, millimeters on. So that would be, in real life, you would use a 4 mil. And I am actually using that 4 for the ears because the ears are chunkier. And that's where I'd gone wrong. But in truth, the rest of the amigurumi is I work in between a 2 and a 2.5. And I find these bamboo hook needle things, which are not very expensive, right? They are really good. They give you a good grip and they don't hurt my hands, and I can crochet for ages. I find they work really well for my amis. So I don't tend to use that type. I tend to use the wooden one most of the time. So I'm going to pop that back in the bag. So that should be finished tomorrow. And when I'm tired at night, you know, this is unfortunately, when I've been working hard in the studio, I've been doing more crochet at night. But I want to start picking up. It's not, the pressure is kind of coming up because I've finished a lot of the body of the work that I was working on in the studio with the art. So I'm having a little bit more energy. Right, so that's that. So what else is work in progress? This little lady here, she is my other work in progress. Sorry, let me see if I can find her. That's the one I'm working on there. Hold on, bear with me. I've just got everything next to me here. I know this is a very long video. I hope you stick with me and I hope you're enjoying it. So the other one, which I'm working on, this is my first amigurumi doll because I've been mostly working on animals and I do like the dolls. This is another card. This is called Winter. She is, and she's so cute. Look at her little face. Her eyebrows and stuff will be, her eyelashes will be embroidered on. Now the hair is made out of wool, and I had started to do it in wool. You root the hair in, and maybe I'll do a demo at some point as to how you do rooting. You root the hair in, but I like the wool, but then I was thinking, do I really want wool? I want to make that woolen dress for her, but I'm also making her dress in muslin at the minute. So here she is. She feels lovely. She is stuffed in kapok. Don't forgive the hair. She's not been rooted yet. And the pattern calls for you to use a darker color up here on the crown for the scalp. So this was the wool. And I didn't really like it. So when I was in Sheffield yesterday, I went to the Afro hair shops where you get all our extensions, and I bought that, which you'd use. It's the same material that make up my wigs, you know, when you see me wearing my hair pieces. It's the same stuff. And it feels nice. It feels like hair, like my hair. It's very nice, smells nice too. So I bought that and they're very reasonable. I went to Julia, I think it's called Julia's. There's loads of them around. They're the Afro hair supermarkets. Fabulous. For all of you ladies out there, black or white, you must go and check out an Afro hair supermarket. If you go to any area which has got a lot of black people and Afro-Caribbean people, fabulous. All of you've never seen hair products like it. And there's stuff for all types of hair in there. So you must go and check them out. And they're all over the place. They're in Sheffield, Leeds, Birmingham, all sorts of places. Anyways, London. So I bought, sorry about that. I bought a pack of that because I was wondering if I could do like what we call crochet weave with it using the crochet hook, which is how you can get black hairstyles done like that, extensions, right? So I've started to root her. So what I use is the hook, and you see I'm starting, and this is how they do dolls. A lot of those reborns or whatever they do like that. So my plan is to recreate the same hairstyle, but and I don't want any of you out there going, really, Arlene? I'd have to do it with the wool anyway, and it don't really take that long. It's the same technique like I do here with the crochet hook. And basically, I'm going to be rooting her all the way around her crown. I don't know. I had tested out. By the way, she has no face. These are not her eyes. They're just pins to mark where her eyes are going to go. And her little nose, because her nose is embroidered. I'll show you her again. Okay. If I were going to put safety eyes in, like the black ones, because I always use safety eyes, those would have had to have gone in by now because I've already closed up her head. So I'm going to root her. So next time you see her, hopefully she'll have hair. I like the idea of leaving the hair long because I like the ringlets. I think they look nice. She's very delicate. She's just like the other one that looked like a rattle. So we're going under her skirt. Sorry, my dear, because she hasn't got her knickers yet. You see her little body is ever so skinny. And she has got a little bit of, I've put a bit of sawdust in her body to give her a bit of heft. And this is the muslin that I'm drafting. I've just put this on her, but I'm going to use that to make her dress and some of that ribbon. But I'm just sort of starting to sort of draft it on her, and then I'm going to hand sew her little dress and put it on her. So I'm working on her at the minute. So I only got the hair yesterday. But while I was over there, I bought some others, and I brought another one to show you. So that's also the similar sort of thing. This is for kids. I didn't even know they did these. Crochet braids. Yeah. So these are shorter lengths. So for one other doll at some point. So what else have I got to show you quick? Oh gosh, I bought this. Honestly, I have to show you this yarn. Honest to God. I bought this. When I was down at the wool factory, I went to a wool factory, by the way, had a small haul, but we're not looking at that here. Not on this episode. We got long enough episode. I'll show you some other time. Anyway, I bought this stuff by Katia. I think it's Katia. Wow. And I thought, oh, that could be quite nice to use like the mohair. Wrong. Firstly, the fur is very long on it. I tried crocheting that. My dears, I was getting nowhere fast. I couldn't even knit with it. But all is not lost, because I think I could use that for hair. I can sort of do like a coiffure, you know, like a coiffure. Is that the right word? Sorry, all you French people out there. Anyway, I could use that for hair. So it's not going to be wasted, but it was a bit of a disappointment for what I had wanted it for. But so it goes. You have to try things, isn't it? So moving swiftly on. Oh, I know we've finished off the cross stitch part, but I dyed that this week as well. This is some Ada, 14 count Ada. I dyed that recently. So the only other one I've got work in progress, I've got another one, but I didn't bring her because I'm not working on her right now. I want to do some more work on this girl. This girl here. Oh, she's from another designer. And she was one of my first Amis. Her head is a bit not as hard, because I tell you with these Amis, you really have to stuff them some more. And this girl, I'm not sure how the frills are coming out. It's not quite. I might have to elongate these frills. I know it's to the pattern, but I'm not sure if I like how they kind of stick up. If I show you what she looks like quickly. If I show you quickly what she's supposed to look like. Everything is falling everywhere. That's her, right? And I suppose that's how she's supposed to look. I can't wait to make her shoes. They're so cute. But I'm not sure if I like how, I don't know. I don't like the fact that, I wish her skirt had more of a drape. And that's the yarn. I don't know what yarn it is. That is the yarn I'm using. But I don't know. I don't really like, I don't know. To me, these feel like they want to be longer, isn't it? And the colors are so nice and you can't really see the layers. So I don't know, because our whole cren is going to be covered. The whole crinoline will be covered. That adds crocheting that first, right? I don't know. And she got bloomers. She got matching knickers underneath. So yeah, so that's what I'm working on in terms of my hobby stuff, because my art practice is very busy. And I think really what I might do is, after I've showed you these last two bits, what I might do is I might actually end this video, and then I will do a part 2 video, because this video is quite long. I'm gonna, because you haven't seen me, I'm gonna do a part 2 video where I'm gonna show what's been happening in the art studio, and also a very special unboxing of something I made for my daughter Brit. And she did an unboxing video of some amigurumi I made her as a surprise. So the last thing I'm going to show you is a gadget I bought since you last saw me. This. Now, I saw these when I went into spring into wool in the spring in Leeds. And I'm thinking, what on earth are those things? What is that? And lots of people were clocking over them. Anyway, I thought, oh, whatever, move on. And then I discovered it on a channel, swinging around. And I've got 2 of them. This one its thing has fallen off out in the bedroom. So I've got a double. And the double one is quite nice. I got it on Amazon. And you can put your scissors in here. And what it does, it allows these kind of balls of yarn, you know how you buy them like that, to feed off nice and freely, because it swings around. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant thing. This one will take a double, 2 together if you're changing colors, and that one takes a single. They weren't terribly expensive. I went for the natural wood color, and they have been a game changer. Now, I met a lady down at the wool factory, Angie. If you go onto the wool factory, Skegness, and follow them on Facebook, I would be really grateful, because they're a great shop here in Lincolnshire. And she has a really fancy one, which is handmade by somebody in her village in the Fens, because she lives in the Fens, but she lives in another part of the Fens to me, more further down towards the coast. And what it is, because this type works with like a regular ball of wool, but if you buy those jumbo balls, they don't work on this. And I think it was £30 she's quoted me. And this guy, a young chap in her village who is IT savvy, he's got a 3D printer and he's 3D printing these. £30, right? But it's adjustable, so you can make it longer, you can expand it, and it's got a tray underneath, which when I get it, I'll show you, because I'm going to order one from him. And for the big fat wools that don't fit on here, it will fit on there. So, guys, it's been a very long video. I've had a great time. Hopefully, Simon will get to release this before he leaves, because the trouble is he's leaving on Monday. We're going to Hydehold Flower Show in RHS. We've just come back from Hampton Court Flower Show, and also what was Tatton Park Flower Show, which was held in Yorkshire. Both of them were quite successful for us, so I'm very pleased about that. But anyway, I will talk more about that on the art video and the art update in the next video. So until then, toodle-doo. Shall I show my face? Come on, let's pull me back up so I can say bye-bye properly. Yes, there it is. Until then, toodle-doo. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a lovely week. I hope you had amused yourself by doing some craft while you were watching, because it was a long video, and I miss you all very much. I feel a bit guilty sometimes. I do. I feel guilty. I think, oh, you know, you should try and film. And I do film, but I sometimes don't get a chance to release. But, you know, that's just how it is. It's real life here. You know, I'd like to tell you that I spend all of my time doodling around. No, you know, life gets in the way, doesn't it? Sometimes of the things we love to do. Anyway, enjoy the week, whatever it has to bring. Enjoy the rest of this lovely Sunday evening. Have a lovely, peaceful, restful one, or whatever you're doing. And until next time, toodle-doo. Goodbye. Bye-bye.